It goes back 16 years. It's a battle of quarterbacks. For the Eastside Rams, Keith Ware, the exciting, multi-talented athlete. He makes things happen. For the Buchholz Bobcats, Clint Alexander, the pure passer. It's Eastside against Buchholz, and it's Cox Cable 8's high school football game of the week. Field in Gainesville.
I'd just refer you to Schedule D. If the judge could have the Schedule D from the 80 return, which is part of...
Clint Alexander, the quarterback, and on first down, they give us to the big fullback, Wayne Moore, and he's out across the 20 to maybe the 22-yard line. Buchholz offensive backs, Wayne Moore, the fullback, John Allegheny at tailback. Clint Alexander's receivers, he had Johnny Dickerson in there. Now John McLean comes in to replace him. Mickey Mulberry at tight end and Lamar Thomas at flanker. And now Thomas will go into a slot left with McLean the split end, and the backs in the eye, Wayne Moore and John Allegheny, as Alexander fumbles the snap and has to pick it up and gets about back to the line of scrimmage. Mishandled the snap from center on that one.
There was a little mix-up on that play, Ken, but what has happened is that Eastside, using a three-man front, has just submarining the offensive line, anticipating that Buchholz will be running straight ahead as they have been doing in the early parts of their first two ball games. And they've really thrown off the offensive play calling of Buchholz in the first two plays of this series here. Let's see if Buchholz decides to go wide or throw.
3rd and 8, and Alexander's back to pass, scrambling left, looking, and throws deep. He's got his man, Lamar Thomas, and forget it, folks. He got behind the Eastside secondary, and it's 6 points. There are no flags. Just 3 plays into the ball game, and Alexander scrambled left and hit his favorite target, Lamar Thomas, a 78-yard touchdown play. Just a minute and 24 seconds into this ball game. What a way to get started, Bob.
Amazing. Buchholz fans going berserk over there on the east sideline right now. A mix-up in the secondary there on the first pass from scrimmage from Clint Alexander. And it goes for a 77-yard touchdown, as you said. Keith Ware, one of the men confused there, along with Claude Williams on the sideline. Mix-up in the coverage and a long touchdown.
And now we're going to get a timeout before Robert McCarthy can attempt this point after. The Cats are going to burn the timeout. 6-0 Buchholz. In case you just tuned in, thinking you hadn't missed much, guess what? On the 3rd play of the game, Clint Alexander rolling to his left, hit Lamar Thomas on a 78-yard touchdown pass. We've got 10 minutes and 36 seconds to play in the first quarter, and it's already 6-0. One thing you got to say about this matchup, though, Bob, Buchholz definitely has the numbers on its side. Eastside only has 31 players in uniform for this game, and as we've seen with the Florida Gators recently, that can hurt you.
Well, like I say, a lot of guys play both ways on this team. Usually you see the problem for the defense late in the ball game when they start getting tired. These guys have been playing both ways, but it was a breakdown in the early going. And that's really going to put Buchholz with a good lift going into this first quarter.
The hold by Kane Alexander is good. The kick is good by Robert McCarthy, and it's 7-0 Bobcats with 10:33 to play in the opening period.
About the rivalry between these two teams, Ken, as I said, Back in the early days, when Buchholz first came into existence back in 1971, Eastside was a dominating team in these parts. In fact, they shut Buchholz out the first 2 games, but the Bobcats quickly recovered, and through the first 12 games that these two teams played, the series was tied at 6-6, but under Al Wernicke and Eddie Feely, Buchholz has turned things around, and they've won the last 3 games.
And now David Frazier set to kick off with Bernard Bird and Keith Ware back deep. And this is Keith Ware, the quarterback, but he's in the end zone. He's going to bring it out across the 20. Good blocking before he's brought down there. Kevin Peoples on the tackle on the special teams.
Kevin Peoples just got a hand on that ankle of Keith Ware, or Lord knows where he would have been right now. It seems Eastside every year has one spectacular athlete that stands head and shoulders above the best. This year, it's Keith Ware, defensive back, kickoff returner, and as you'll see right now, as the Rams start their first series, their leading rusher and quarterback.
In fact, he's accounted for 251 of their 307 yards rushing in the first 2 games. And on 1st and 10 from the 29, Ware will go into the shotgun. And now some changing around, and he's up at the line. It's a keeper up the middle. About 6 yards on that, up to the 35. Sim Banks on the tackle.
Larry White with a little shake-up there to confuse the Buchholz defense by putting a man in the slot, then switching him over to the left side, sending a wide receiver out to the right, and all it did was stretch the linebackers, left the middle open, and you could see Ware just take it right up the middle on the quarterback draw for a good game.
6 yards, and now 2nd and 4 from the 35. Ware back in the shotgun. And he's looking to throw. Out of the backfield, he's got Marvin Pope. First down, he breaks a tackle, and he's almost to midfield before finally being dragged down. Sebron McCrae finally brought him down.
For a 17-yard gain, it'll be first down for the Rams.
There's a missed tackle in the secondary by the Bobcats there. I think it was David Frazier that missed a tackle there. Frazier, the kickoff man, also playing safety. So Buchholz misses a tackle. Of course, they don't pay as badly as Eastside did in their first possession.
First down from the 49, and this is Ware again. Sim Banks got in there, though, to slow him up a little bit, and the rest of the Buchholz defense converged on him. Lost a couple.
Ware for a loss of 2.
The book on Ware is really, he's not as fast as some of the Eastside quarterbacks of previous years, but he's just so slippery. It seems like he's laid down. I got him down in goose grease or something. You saw Sim Banks come in there, just had his arms wrapped around him. Somehow he was able just to slip through the grasp. It's a very, very elusive quarterback. Keith Ware of the Eastside Rams.
And now he's going to call timeout with 8:18 to play in the first quarter. Buchholz up 7-0 over Eastside. The Cats scored on their 3rd offensive play on a 78-yard touchdown pass from Clint Alexander to Lamar Thomas. After Robert McCarthy kicked the point, it was 7-0. That's where we stand now, in case you just joined us.
This is always a big game, inner-city matchup of the season. Fans still coming in here to Florida Field. And Buchholz comes in with a record of 2-0. Very impressive in their opening victory over Rains High. And then last week over at Citizens Field, not so impressive in a victory over Lake City, but nonetheless 2-0 coming into this game. Eastside, the Rams are 1-1, lost to Palatka in its opening game, and then last week they went on to beat a 5A Orange Park squad. So both teams come into this game on an uptick, even though the Rams probably did play a little bit better last week than did Buchholz.
That was an exciting game we had last week, though.
Well, I'm sure that Coach Warnicke felt that some of his kids got their heads on straight coming into this game, because they were surprised and almost blew that game, to be quite honest, last week.
Loss of 2, 2nd and 12 from the 49. Keith Ware back in the shotgun again, and he looks to throw. Nothing doing. So Buchholz defense would have nothing of that. 73, George Fleming in there first.
Wally Kraft on the tackle.
Wally Craps in there as well. Another big loss back to the 39-yard line, loss of 10.
You can count them. There were 6 white shirts in the backfield all over Keith Ware. Buchholz plays a 4-man front, the 4-4 defense they have, which has been very, very effective. It's that defense which has carried the Bobcats thus far this year, but 6 men that time in the backfield all over Keith Ware.
3rd and 22 now from the 39-yard line. Ware again looks to throw. Throwing deep. Overthrows his man Larry Jones, the freshman running back. David Frazier on the coverage.
Fourth down and 21 for the Rams.
So on 4th down, the punting unit will come on for Eastside, and that means Nathan Whitaker, who's now coming off the field. And we're going to have a holding penalty on the Buchholz team. And instead of being 4th and 22, it'll be 3rd and 12 from the 49. Aaron McKnight and Vernon Bryant, the wideouts. Backs in an eye behind Keith Ware. He's back to pass on 3rd and 12, looking long again. And it's picked off by Gary Willis down at the 15-yard line. Great play that time as he was shadowing Vernon Bryant all the way down the field, and he just leaped up and got it. Nice play by Gary Willis, the senior.
There's a flag down on the play, and I think it's going to go against Buchholz. That time they're working on Gary Willis with Vernon Bryant. Now, Bryant only stands 5'6", and Gary Willis has 7 inches on him, as he's the biggest guy in the secondary for the Bobcats. He stands 6'1", so there was no matchup when it was a jump ball for the pass. But let's see another penalty against the Bobcats, and it'll be a 1st down, I believe, for Eastside.
They're going to call pass interference on that one.
Defensive pass interference. Will be a 1st down for the Rams on the Bobcat 44.
So 2 big 3rd down penalties against Buchholz has put Eastside in good field position with a 1st down.
1st and 10 at the Buchholz 36-yard line as Ware to Larry Jones gets to about the 35.
Larry Jones for 1 yard. Robbie Hudson on the catch.
Jones only a freshman, the only freshman on this Ram roster, and he sees a lot of action. Starting, as a matter of fact, in the tailback position today.
Gain of 1, 2nd and 9, 6:55 to play. First quarter, 7-0 Buchholz. And Keith Ware's back in the shotgun on 2nd and 9. And he's rolling left looking for McKnight. And he's got Todd Woolard out of the tight end position down to the 15. That's enough for a 1st down. David Frazier brought him down. Woolard's 9th catch of the year.
For a 1st down. Tackled by David Frazier.
Todd Woolard, interestingly, ranks 3rd in the entire area in receptions thus far this year.
Then on 1st and 10 from the 25, it's Ware out of the shotgun again, but the give is to Marvin Pope inside, and the bruising fullback is down to the 20, the 15, and slams his way down to the 10, but he gives up the football. Are they going to call it a fumble? No indication. Eastside keeps the ball. Pope gave it up, but got lucky.
Well, Pope with hard running that time. Todd Harrison had him, but he was eluded the tackle of a big defensive end and got himself all the way down to the 5-yard line where they ruled that he was on the ground before he did fumble the ball. So Eastside, 1st and goal from the 5, looking to tie it up.
10th play of this drive now that began back at the Eastside 29-yard line. And they give us to Pope, and he gives it up again. And this time, Buchholz has got it.
3 men had a chance to get that ball before Simbanks fell on it for the Bobcats. Golden opportunity goes by the boards for the Rams. Tough break. Well, turnovers have hurt this Eastside team in its first 2 games. They were instrumental in that opening game loss to Palatka, where they lost 3 fumbles. And the thing that has gotten Buchholz in trouble has been penalties, and that's what cost them on that first drive. So these teams sticking to form, and I'm sure the head coaches don't like to see that.
Alexander, the give up inside to the big fullback, Wayne Moore. And if he's got the speed, he may go a long way as he's down to almost the 38-yard line. He's going to finally knocked out of bounds by Marvin Pope and Drayton Allen.
Saving tackle by Marvin Pope. You know, it's really got to be tough on these kids to be able to switch from offense to defense, especially the skill players like a Marvin Pope, who just figures so much in getting the team down to the 5-yard line with hard running, and then all of a sudden they turn it over. You know, he's still got to be thinking about that lost opportunity on offense where he sees a man streaking upfield and he's got to make the saving tackle.
Moore rushed for over 1,200 yards on the Buchholz JV last year. Great talent, and he gets the ball again, but this time he's stacked up at the line of scrimmage. Marvin Pope again, as well as Kyle Davis.
Eastside linebackers closed that hole up nicely, but it was good trap blocking, particularly by offensive guard Robbie Ward, number 54 for Buchholz on that first down play.
It's a big offensive line the Cats have. The biggest, Scott McDonald, 5'9" and 206 pounds. Goes to John Covert, 6'2", 290. I guess he's the biggest.
And there's a good look at him.
And Alexander with a wing left now, and here's the give on the counter to Jimmy Normand, and Normand is going to be dragged down. Marvin Pope again, the guy's everywhere. You know, Bobby, we saw last week, that counter play to Jimmy Normand worked for some big gainers for Buchholz, and they tried to go back to it there, but Marvin Pope was not to be had.
Usually that play can only be stopped by an outstanding individual effort, and that's what you got from Marvin Pope. It was actually perfect blocking. In fact, Wayne Moore, the fullback, got a gorgeous block on the defensive end, and usually when you get that running back to make his block, that's going to go a long way, but credit Marvin Pope on that defensive effort.
And now Thomas in a slot left with Dickerson wide left, and Alexander's back to pass on 3rd and 12. And looking, and he's got Thomas, but Thomas a little bit off the fingertips at the 40-yard line. So it'll bring up 4th down. And the Cats will have to punt. That'll be Johnny Dickerson staying in to punt.
Eastside finally got some pressure on Alexander that time. Coming from the right side, Robert Mann to tackle, and Kirk Brooker, the outside right linebacker. They hadn't been able to get much penetration as far as pressure on Alexander, but that time they did on a crucial 3rd down play.
Dickerson, the number 2 punter in the area with a 39.5-yard average. He gets this one off. And a fair catch called for and made at the 25-yard line.
Good punt by Dickerson into a strong wind, too.
Claude Williams with the fair catch. 3:59 to play in the first quarter, and Buchholz up 7-0.
Correction on the 25-yard line.
39-yard punt by Dickerson that time. So just about keep his average. And on 1st and 10, Keith Ware again in the shotgun, and now he's going to move up again behind center as the Rams do some more shifting. And Ware back to pass again on 1st down and looking long again. And Willis again with a nice play. Vernon Bryant again.
Well, there was a little bumping as they went down the sideline, but Willis got his hand up for a nice deflection. It looked as though he was looking straight at the ball, but we're going to have to wait and see what the call was. I didn't think Willis did anything illegal on that play, but the officials were much closer than we.
To be honest, just about everyone's a lot closer than we are.
Yes, Willis definitely was looking back towards the ball and made a nice deflection, and that they say the offensive receiver, and I believe it was Bryant, pushed off on him. So it's going to be 5-yard penalty and loss of down for the Rams. As we follow the Buchholz defense moving backwards.
Back to the 13, penalized half the distance. And now Winston Thomas is in at the Rams backfield at tailback behind Marvin Pope, the fullback. Aaron McKnight and Vernon Bryant, the wideouts, on 2nd and 23. Ware fumbles the snap. I believe Buchholz has it. Rodney Young dove on the loose football. And another turnover for Eastside and another break for Buchholz.
Ken, that play never got off the ground. The snap was mishandled by the quarterback, Keith Ware. It was a sprint out designed to go to the right. And on a play like that, they don't block the opposite side, the weak side defensive end, which was Young on that play. And no one was there to block him, and the ball popped loose. And he was the only man there to fall on it.
The recovery at the 11-yard line of Eastside, 1st and 10. Alexander has Moore and Gainey as his running backs, and he's back to pass on 1st down. He's got Moore out of the backfield, makes the catch, and dragged down at the 4-yard line. Claude Williams, the junior defensive back, drags him down. Down to the 5, where it'll be 2nd and 5. 2nd and 4. Clock running, 2:54 to play, first quarter. The Cats with 2 tight ends and a wingman right. Alexander with the give to Keith Howell, the fullback. Doesn't get anywhere. And on 3rd and 3rd and 4 from the 5, rather. Alexander's back to pass, looking into the end zone for Thomas. Thomas catches a touchdown, but there's a flag down. Thomas got over Bernard Bird that time.
It's going to be a procedure penalty against Buchholz. Ken, and somebody on Buchholz jumped a little bit early in the backfield, I believe, so that's going to come back. 5-yard penalty. Too bad for Alexander. It was a nice play and a nice toss.
With Bird shadowing him on the inside, Alexander had to put it out over Thomas's outside shoulder. That's what he did. Thomas made the nice grab, but penalty sends it back.
It'll be 3rd down and 11.
So call it 3rd and 9 now from the 10.5-yard line. Keith Howell and Jimmy Norman, the running backs. And Alexander back to pass again. Pressured. Finally throws it away. And it's intercepted. No?
Alexander's pass intercepted by Todd Rhodes. Flag on the play.
No, now I tell you what, there's going to be a controversy here because the linesman on that side, Legree Cason, called it incomplete. And to tell you the truth, I thought when he brought it into his chest and came down that the ball did hit the ground. Now, Legree Cason, who did have his back to the play, called it incomplete, but the umpire, I believe, said it was a complete pass, so now we're going to have to wait, and they are ruling it complete. And you see the officials having a discussion there. The man in the white hat, Rodney Waldron, is the referee.
This penalty is going to go against Eastside and give Buchholz a 1st down at the 5.
It'll be 1st and goal for the Bobcats.
1st and goal from the Rams.
Yes, it looked like a roughing the passer call from what he was signaling there, Ken.
Double tight end and backs in the eye on 1st and goal. And the give is to John L. Gainey, but Gainey is wrapped up there. Still goes, but doesn't get anything to show for it. Maybe pushed back a little bit.
John L. Gainey for a loss of 2.
We haven't heard that much from John L. Gainey in the first 2 games. He's coming off a really good junior year, but he still is averaging over 5 yards a carry. He just hasn't carried the ball that many times in the first 2 games of the season for the Cats. Showed some hard running right there.
He lost 2 and on 2nd and goal from the 7. Alexander with the give to Keith Howell, who gets down to maybe the 1 before Marvin Pope again wraps him up.
Great blocking in the interior line there by Buchholz, Lavender, and Covert, number 76. Good blocks, good surge off the ball, and of course, Marvin Pope always in the center of things to save the touchdown that time for the Rams.
As the leading tackler coming into this ball game, had 20 solo tackles in the first 2 games for Eastside. And now on 3rd and 1 with 39 seconds to play in the first quarter and the clock running. Him and his mates hope to do it again as Alexander's back to pass, looking for Thomas on that pattern again, and he's got him for the touchdown. Just laid it up on the timing pattern, and Thomas just had to reach out and get it. Over Alton McKinney, the junior defensive back.
Eastside made a hard rush that time for the outside from Sean Brown, who put pressure on Alexander, but it was a good call. They caught Eastside in single coverage, and when you get Lamar Thomas in single coverage, he usually can beat his man. He's got that type of speed, so Cats now up 2 scores.
Clint's brother Kane Alexander to hold, McCarthy to kick. The kick is up and good, and it's 14-0 Buchholz with 30 seconds to play in the first quarter.
The Bobcats 14, Rams 0.
Keith Ware dropped deep for Eastside as David Frazier to kick it off. Then Ware watches it go over his head into the end zone for another touchback.
Good look at the motion and the form there, and the strong leg of David Frazier, the senior kicker. Big fella, 6'2", 187 pounds. And a good leg that time to get that ball into the end zone. No time off the clock. Still half a minute left here in the first quarter.
And Keith Ware will have Marvin Pope with him back in the backfield as they go to the shotgun once again. 1st and 10 from the 20, and the give is to Pope inside, and he's tripped up. 75, Clifford Bell tripped him up there as he crossed over the 20 and got to about the 23. Now they're going to spot the ball just over the original line of scrimmage, so call it no gain for Pope, and 2nd and 10 from the 20. Time winding down, 1 second, and that is the end of the first quarter from Florida Field in Gainesville. Cox Cable 8's high school football game of the week. It's Buchholz 14 at Eastside, nothing. start the second quarter from Florida Field in Gainesville. Buchholz leading Eastside 14-0 on Cox Cable 8's Game of the Week. Ken Tomash, Bob DeLessio with you on a beautiful Friday night in Gainesville. And on second and 9, Keith Ware again looking to throw. And out of the backfield, he's got Todd Woolard, a nice catch before he is brought down. Gary Willis converging there with David Frazier making the tackle.
Todd Woolard, of course, the younger brother of Gator wide receiver Darrell Woolard, who now finds himself in a pretty up close to a starting position for the University of Florida, redshirt freshman. Darrell had a tremendous season for the Rams 2 years ago.
So 3rd and 1, backs in the eye. And Ware's keeping it up the middle. Gets to the 35-yard line before Clifford Bell again knocks him down.
And a first down.
See there what I was talking about? Two Buchholz people, Grady Brown, number 41, Kevin Peoples, number 89. Each had shots on Ware. He bounced off both of them and fell forward for about 7 more extra yards that he wouldn't have had. Amazing the way this guy can keep going. But Eastside always comes up with a scrambling, hard-running quarterback. We mentioned when Woolard played here a couple of years ago, they had Lee DeBose, who was a speedster.
Now Ware again on 1st and 10 from the 35. He's looking to throw once again, and he's throwing over the middle. Looking for Woolard again up at the 45-yard line, but David Frazier would have none of that. That'll be 2nd and 10. Ball at the 35. We're just starting the second quarter of play from Florida Field, and it's 14-0 Buchholz. Cats have 2 touchdown passes from Clint Alexander to Lamar Thomas, one a 78-yarder on the 3rd play of the game. And the Rams trying to dig themselves out of a hole. Ware on 2nd and 10 from the 35 to throw once again, some pressure, and he's throwing long again, and he overthrows his man Vernon Bryant, the small speedster, just 5'6" and 186 pounds. Gary Willis again, the converted linebacker, having a great year so far at cornerback.
Ware really didn't get a good throw off that time. It was a wobbly pass, and he still overthrew the receiver even though he was thrown into a wind. So Ware shows a strong arm, but that one was not a good pass. His receiver did have a step or two.
So 3rd and 10 from the 35, 10:41 to play, first half. And Ware will roll left and throw again. And not able to come up with the pass. Todd Woolard. David Frazier again with the coverage. Woolard was kind of sliding on that one, and it just bounced off him.
It was a catchable ball, but when he hit that turf, the ball came loose. Woolard has 1 good catch already in this game. And of course, David Frazier shadowing him wherever he goes.
Nathan Whitaker to punt, averaging 33 yards a boot so far this season for the Rams.
He's only had 3 punts thus far this year.
Lamar Thomas back deep as Whitaker gets it away. A high, nice kick. And Thomas takes it at the 25. Starting back. And he gets a block. Makes some cuts. Boy, he's exciting to watch. We've got flags down. 63, Andy Anderson wrapped him up finally.
Flag and play.
Thomas ran right through 2 people, including Vernon Bryant, but there's going to be a clip, I believe, called against Buchholz that's going to bring this way back, and of course the Rams have a man down right now with Sean Brown, their big offensive lineman, who because of the shortage has to play on special teams. We mentioned the Rams with a very, very small roster coming into this ballgame.
So the penalty will put Buchholz in a hole a little bit. Their 31's not bad, but not where they could have been. With 10:14 to play and the clock running first half. Alexander throwing. Got Johnny Dickerson. Dickerson gets around Drayton Allen. And Allen pushes him out of bounds at midfield, just over midfield, the 49.
Clint Alexander, very intelligent quarterback, saw the set, as we mentioned at the beginning of the telecast, how on first down Eastside usually stacks up the middle. So he had one-on-one coverage on the outside with his best wide receiver, Johnny Dickerson, and called an audible and just laid it out there for him.
Alexander 4 of 5 for 105 yards already, and he's back to throw again, and he's got Lamar Thomas, but I believe Lamar Thomas trapped that one down at the 30. The Eastside players think so, but
again, the officials talking this thing over.
They're going to say
it's complete. This is the best Alexander has thrown all season long. That time he was actually hit as he released the ball, hit by Andrew Anderson, who came in hard from his left tackle position. But a nice throw and another big gain for Buchholz through the air.
And the Rams will take a timeout with 9:28 to play in the first half, and Buchholz leading 14-0 over Eastside. An inter-city rivalry that's always exciting. As we mentioned, the Cats have won the last 3 times out. Last year was 24-14. And the Cats lead the all-time series between these schools 9-6. Alexander 5 out of 6 for 126 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's off to quite a very good start tonight. We're set to go again. Al Wernicke leaves his team's huddle and goes back to the sidelines. 1st and 10 from the Eastside 31-yard line. And Alexander on a quarterback keeper across the 30 to the 29. Andy Anderson brings him down there.
I'll tell you who you can credit on that defensive play. Marvin Pope at the last second just came right up over the center and stood there, and Alexander saw him, and I don't know what the play that he had originally called was, but Alexander decided to abort it right at the last second there, kept it himself, and just fell forward for a yard. But Marvin Pope came up and really threw a monkey wrench into that play.
John McClain now goes wide right as Lamar Thomas in the slot right. And Alexander's back to pass again, and that ball was batted down.
Guess who?
Cameron Goff was in there. And Marvin Pope got the big paw on it.
Who else? Delayed blitz that time by Pope. That time, Alexander, as they play a little game of cat and mouse, went with the quick count, anticipating perhaps another blitz up the middle. And with the quick count, he got time for a 3-step drop and got his pass off, but Pope came through to get his arm on Alexander as he was releasing the ball.
3rd and 8 now from the 29 with 8:53 to play in the first half, and Alexander's looking, and he's got Dickerson down to the 15, and Dickerson is brought down at the 11-yard line. Todd Woolard on the tackle.
Again, Marvin Pope continues to come up the middle that time, and Robbie Ward with a good block, but he paid for it as Ward was knocked over, but he did keep Marvin Pope out of the backfield that time. And of course, when you do that, you give your quarterback time, especially when it's a quarterback as effective as Clint Alexander, you're going to get a pass complete, and that's exactly how it happened.
This drive has been all Alexander, his running and his throwing. And 1st and 10 now from the 11. And they give us to John L. Gainey. Gainey breaks one tackle, but Marvin Pope stops him at the 10. Gain of a yard.
Tell you about the situation with Eastside, how really hurt they are by the lack of size and the lack of numbers. The man that he broke the tackle from that time was Cameron Goff, one of the defensive linemen who stands 5'6" and weighs, and healthy, 148 pounds. Really a little bit of a mismatch in the defensive line.
2nd and 9 from the 10, and Alexander's back to pass. We've got a flag down, and this pass is batted down.
Yeah, Claude Williams came through to get a hand on that pass, but the flag, I believe, will go against Buchholz.
I believe someone jumped a little bit before that. Should be a procedure penalty. Might have been Mickey Mulberry, the tight end.
Well, we've seen Buchholz 3 times thus far this year. We've televised all 3 of the Bobcat games, and this is the most effective that their offense has looked in the early going. Again, when they have problems, it's because of the penalties. They haven't had that many in this first quarter as they have had in the past 2 games, but again, when they stop moving, it's because they stop themselves with penalties.
And now McLean and Dickerson, the wideouts, and they'll go right with McLean in the slot, and Gainey and Moore, the running backs. On 2nd and 14 from the 15, Alexander's back to pass. He's pressured and gets one away to Wayne Moore, the fullback. Moore cuts down to the 10, down to the 5, and to the 2-yard line. As we saw last week, Wayne Moore is effective when you can swing one out to him out of the backfield, and he can use his crushing fullback power.
You see the way that Alexander disguised that rush, made it look like he was in trouble, then let Scott McDonald, big number 63, get out there, and all those blockers, and beautiful gain, and a great call that time by Coach Warnicki.
12-yard gain, third
one.
and 2. From the 3-yard line, and they give us to Moore, and he's over for the touchdown.
Over and untouched.
Gainey with a nice block on that play to spring him. And Moore had a waltz into the end zone. 7:02 to play, first half. 20-0 Buchholz. Kane Alexander to hold with Robert McCarthy to kick. Up and good. 21-0 Buchholz.
Never can figure a game like this. A lot of people, I'm sure, figured Buchholz would come out on top, but I don't think anybody expected them to jump out to a 21-0 lead over Eastside after only about 23 minutes of play.
Of course, Eastside has hurt themselves. They had some good field position early, but coughed it up, and then another fumble early on deep in their own territory. So while Keith Ware has been trying to make a lot of things happen on his own, he's been hurt by a couple of turnovers. We're in the second quarter from Florida Field in Gainesville, our game of the week on Cox Cable Channel 8. Ken Tomash and Bob DeLessio with you, and David Frazier to kick off for yet another time. And this one is going to go out of bounds at the 11.
Keith Ware took a look at that coming down. He said, no, I think that's going to go out of bounds. And he did get the bounce. Of course, if it went on the inside, that's a live ball. But it did take a bounce out of bounds, 5 yards against the Bobcats.
Ever try to dribble a football? You never know which way those things are going to bounce.
Buchholz will be kicking over from the 35.
So now we'll take a look and see how David Frazier kicks from, well, now it'll be Robert McCarthy to kick off from the 35. We'll see how he kicks from the distances where college and pro kickers kick from. Kick. This is Keith Ware at the 14. Brought down at the 19, Keith Ware.
Keith Ware for a 14-yard return. Johnny Taylor on the deck.
Johnny Taylor and Dale Warren in there. The 29-yard line.
Usually in high school, on the special teams play, you'll see 9 or 10 guys come off the field. For Eastside, only 5 make the change. The other 6 stay on there to play offense.
Keith Ware now has to get something started if his Rams are going to claw their way back into this game. Trailing 21-0, and Ware will keep this ball at the middle, and a jarring hit there by Buchholz pushes Ware back. Kevin Peoples with a nice hit.
Peoples had a free shot that time. Daniel Schaefer, the defensive lineman, just stood up Ware, and Peoples came in, had a nice free shot on the quarterback, and as a defensive player, you always like to get those.
No gain for Ware, who has done just about everything tonight for Eastside offensively, just as Marvin Pope has done just about everything defensively. On 2nd and 10 from the 29. Back to pass is Ware. Looking long for Woolard, and Woolard has it down inside the 40 to the 36-yard line. He beat David Frazier.
Well, actually, he didn't, because Frazier was just as close as he could have been that time, and Woolard just jumped up and made a nice play on him. Finally, Ware got a spiral off. He's been throwing the ball very wobbly, but that time a nice strike down the right sideline. And Frazier, who has been beaten a couple of times, really played that just about as well as he could. It was just a great connection between Ware and Woolard.
34-yard gain. Woolard used his leaping ability. He plays basketball as well. Get up and snag that one. 1st and 10 from the 37-yard line of Buchholz. And Ware from the shotgun again, looking to run. Now he flips one out to Winston Thomas, and Thomas can't hold on.
James Dennis and Daniel Schaefer came in with a little welcoming party for Ware that time as he circled around to the left. That play called out of the shotgun position, really, that probably was intended to be an option the whole way, and I thought Ware had some idea about running before he saw the 61 and 81 coming at him in white.
Larry Jones and Winston Thomas the backs, and we've got a flag.
Flag play.
Buchholz is offside. So move it to the 32 and make it 2nd and 5.
Ken, this is the type of play where Keith Ware is really the most dangerous. A 2nd and 5 play where he can run that option out of the straight formation. See, he's got an eye backfield. Really, the defense is at a disadvantage right now.
And he's rolling left, looking to throw again. Throws back across to Drayton Allen, but broken up by Gary Willis. Ware had his man Drayton Allen down at the 15-yard line, but Willis reached around, batted that ball away.
Some of the people on the east side, on the sideline, wanted some interference on that play, but Willis, the 6'1" senior, timed it perfectly, arrived there just the same time as the ball, and he was awarded a good defensive play. No flag forthcoming.
So 3rd and 5 from the 32-yard line of Buchholz, and Ware is back to throw again, looking back across the middle, to the right side, and Aaron McKnight and Gary Willis might have tangled feet down there near the goal line. We see a flag.
Well, Jimmy Norman was back there. He also plays some defensive back. Norman is a backup tailback who creates some excitement, but I think he got a little aggressive with his hands that time.
And it will be interference on the Bobcats.
I said Norman, if Willis was back there on the defense for Buchholz, and it'll be a 15-yard penalty.
And again, we see the Cats hurting themselves with penalties. If not for that, Eastside would be facing a 4th and 5 from the 32 instead of 1st and 10 from the 17. 5:08 to play, first half, and Ware is looking left and throwing to Woolard down to the 10. David Frazier trips him up there.
Ware to Woolard for 7 yards. David Frazier on the second.
4:47 to play in the clock running first half. 21-0 Buchholz over Eastside. Our game of the week on Cox Cable 8. Ken Tomash, Bob DeLessio with you from Florida Field. And on 2nd and 3 from the 10, Keith Ware will go back into the shotgun. And he's keeping it himself up the middle. And breaks it. And they're going to call him down.
Well, it was a fumble, and it was picked up by the offensive lineman for Eastside, number 72, and that's Brian Dixon. But he picked it up on about the half-yard line and fell into the end zone, but an offensive lineman cannot advance his own team's fumble. So it's a legal fumble recovered by Dixon, but he is not allowed to advance it in the end zone. So Ware does give the ball up, but fortunately for him, he had his own offensive lineman right there, and it'll be 1st and goal as the Rams pick up a first down on that lucky play.
That's one way to do it. Wouldn't be surprised to see Keith Ware taking himself on 1st and goal, but first we're going to have a flag.
Oh, Buchholz a little over anxious there, trying to get everybody down in that three-point stance and to undercut that offensive line, and a little over aggressive and some encroachment. It'll cost them about 6 inches. Half the distance penalty from about the 1 foot line is about 6 inches. So it doesn't cost them that much.
2 tight ends in for Eastside on the goal line. Todd Willard and Darrell Garrison in there. And Ware himself, is he over? Yes. Keith Ware over for the touchdown.
Keith Ware for the touchdown for the Eastside Rams.
And Nathan Whitaker will try the point after. Out of the hold of Kyle Davis. 3:49 to play first half. 21-6 now, Buchholz over Eastside. And he missed it. Pulled it a little bit left. So with 3:49 to play in the first half. The Eastside Rams get a touchdown but miss the point after. It's 21-6. Buchholz over Eastside.
Looking on the sideline there, number 15, a calm-looking Clint Alexander. Everything's been going his way. He's finally got his passing game really on track. He's been throwing a good spiral. He's hitting his receivers in this ball game, and he's been getting a lot of good protection. Alexander, you know, we mentioned he really hasn't been on the first 2 ball games, but it's interesting to note that he has completed 20 of 36 in the first 2 games, Ken. So he really hasn't looked that good, but it's not what you expect from a quarterback as talented as Clint Alexander.
But tonight's an indication. 7 out of 9 unofficially for 156 yards and the 2 touchdowns, and his team is on the front end of a 21-6 score. And his team was 2-0 coming in, and that's all that you can ask for a quarterback is that statistic, the big W. And Whitaker to kick off now. Gainey and Pasco Williams deep. And a nice kick by Whitaker goes to Pasco Williams at the 2. Across the 20 to about the 24-yard line. Darius Bailey on special teams brought down Pasco Williams. 22-yard return, and Bobcats and Alexander will open their offensive show once again from their own 24, 1st and 10. 3:33 to play in the first half, and the clock running. Alexander with the give to Robbie Matheny. And Matheny's across the 30 to about the 32.
Coach Warnicki looking to get his second string a little action. Matheny in there at the fullback position and Rex Stevens in there at tailback.
7 yards from Matheny, 2nd and 3 from the 31. This is Rex Stevens, and Stevens is out across the 40 before Kyle Davis brings him down.
For 10 yards. Kyle Davis on the tackle. Made first and 10 for the Cats.
You almost have to think it's unfair that, you know, Buchholz can come in with the fresh troops like that. And you see the Eastside guys now starting to miss tackles. You know, they're getting tired out there, but this powerful Buchholz offense just keeps coming at them with fresh troops, and you see they're grounding out the yardage now on the ground as opposed to passing as they did early in the first half.
And Alexander with a quick screen out to Lamar Thomas, who's got some running room, breaks the tackle, and is finally pushed out of bounds across midfield by Ken Singleton.
Alexander Thomas.
Ken Singleton also took out our linesman, Legree Kaysen, with a nice tackle. I'm sure Legree will hear that for the rest of the football season from his fellow MFOA officials.
10-yard gainer, and it's 1st and 10 from the Eastside 48 with 2:15 to play in the half, and the clock stopped. And Rodney Straughter now in at quarterback, and the pitch is left to Jimmy Norman. And Norman breaks the tackle, stays in bounds. He may go. He's got one man to beat. And that one man is Bernard Bird, who knocks him out of bounds at the 11.
Norman's hurt a little bit, but we say when he comes into the game, he creates excitement. I inadvertently mentioned he was in on defense earlier, but when he's on offense, you really know it. Broke a couple of tackles, scooted up that left sideline. Looks like he's got a leg injury. Hope it's not serious.
37-yard gain on the pitch left from Rodney Straughter to Jimmy Norman.
Man, this kid's only a sophomore. What a future he's got ahead of him. We just hope he's not injured too badly.
Clock stop, 2:04 to play in the first half.
See, they're working on that's the trainer, Elizabeth Murray for Buchholz, working on the ankle of Jimmy Norman. She's the head trainer. Timeout on the field, obviously, with 2:04 remaining here in the first half. It's 21-6, Bobcats leading the Rams. Good crowd here at Florida Field for this third week of high school football here on Cox Cable Channel 8.
And Norman is Straughter, the quarterback, and they give us to Matheny. Breaks off to the left side, and he gets down inside the 5 to the 4-yard line. Ken Singleton and Bernard Bird in on that tackle.
Bird and Singleton on the tackle.
So a 7-yard gain for Matheny, and 2nd and 3 from the 4. Double tight ends now, Mickey Mulberry and Todd Harrison in for Buchholz as Straughter pitches and puts the ball in the turf. Cameron Goff there on the stop on Rex Stevens, who couldn't come up with that pitch.
Flag and play. Holding,
and now Buchholz is going to be hit with another penalty for holding. Knock it back to the 17-yard line of Eastside with 1:22 to play in the first half and the clock running. 2nd down. Straughter is back to pass, but he's going to be wrapped up and brought down.
Well, the Eastside fans are making a lot of noise, but there's not going to be much out of that.
Cameron Goff wrapped up Rodney Straughter. Play was whistled dead before the fumble that Kyle Davis picked up and took the length of the field, much to the delight of this Eastside crowd.
Tell you, Ken, I'm going to be honest with that. He was not down when the ball was released, but the whistle had sounded as his forward motion was stopped. So although he hadn't hit the ground before he did lose possession of the ball, the whistle had been blown, and his forward motion obviously was stopped as he was being pushed backwards. So it was a good call. All new offensive line in, I might add, for Buchholz right now, along with the new backfield.
Loss of 8, 3rd and 24 from the 25. And now another flag as Clint Alexander is back in the game at quarterback.
Flag in play.
Some of the guys in there for Buchholz on the offensive line: 74, Steve Brown at tackle; 72, Wally Craps; Ken Smizer at guard.
Encroachment against Eastside. It'll be 30 and 20 for the half.
So the penalty will move things down to the 20-yard line. On 3rd and 19 with just 42 seconds to play in the half and the clock running, Alexander back in at quarterback. And he's back to throw again. Lots of pressure, but gets it to Wayne Moore, the fullback. Gets a nice block from there, and he's going to be into the end zone. Touchdown. They're signaling touchdown. Nice block from Scott McDonald to free Wayne Moore on that flip screen as Alexander let the rush come in hard on him and just put it over their heads.
Again, a gorgeously conceived screenplay by Clint Alexander, and it was just perfect execution up until about the 1-yard line where Wayne Moore dropped the ball, but it bounced forward 1 yard into the end zone, and as opposed to the play earlier where you can't recover your own fumble and advance it, you can pick one up in the end zone.
And the Cats go for 2. Rex Stevens takes it over.
It'll be Bobcat 29, Ram 6.
I actually believe that was John L. Gainey that while most of the players were huddling, Robert McCarthy pretended to kick, and the rest of the Cats offense went to the left side. And Gainey got it in for the 2, so it's 29-6 now with just 28 seconds to play. Clint Alexander's 3rd touchdown pass of the night. We have him unofficially at 8 of 10 for 176 yards in those 3 scores, and 29 points racked up in the first quarter, or in the first half rather. Another penalty on the Bobcats will move this kickoff back to the 25-yard line. Unsportsmanlike conduct, I believe the call. And now Robert McCarthy to kick off again with just 28 seconds to play in the half. Good kick by McCarthy. This is Ware colliding with Bernard Bird down at the 15, and that's where they're going to stop the ball.
That's right, his knee was down on that play, and you're not allowed to get up and advance it. The only man that's allowed to get up once he has possession of the ball with his knee on the ground is the holder on a kick. So returner is not allowed to do so, so the ball is placed where his knee touched when he got possession of the ball.
And that is the 15-yard line. This should be the last play of the half as the clock is running now with just 11 seconds to play, and Ware is back to pass. Looking deep. Gary Willis again broke it up and it went into the hands of David Frazier, who couldn't get a hold of it before going out of bounds. Ware looking for Vernon Bryant again.
Good help that time from the free safety, David Frazier. Almost picked up the interception on the tip. he knew that that pass was going long down the right sideline, and he was over there to make a good double coverage that time. 5 seconds left in the half. Time for one more play for Keith Ware.
Ware back to pass. And Vernon Bryant can't come up with it as the horn sounds to end the first half. Our score, Buchholz 29, Eastside 6 at the end of the first half of play.
That if voters on
checking those first half stats, Buchholz with a 12-9 advantage in first downs. Coach Al Wernicke said the last couple weeks has described his offense as spasmodic. I wonder what he'd have to say after 281 yards and 29 points in the first half. Most of that coming on the big arm of Clint Alexander, who's 9 of 11 for 183 yards and those 3 touchdowns. Eastside, meanwhile, with 28 rushing yards, 76 passing for 104 total yards, so they're being outdistanced by the offense of Buchholz. And Nathan Whitaker set to kick off. Deep to return for Buchholz, Pasco Williams, and John Alganey as we're set to start the second half from Florida Field in Gainesville. This will be Pasco Williams at the 11. Gets out across the 20 to about the 21-yard line. Darius Bailey wrapped him up. So a 10-yard return for Pasco Williams, and Keith Ware and company will open up shop from their own 21-yard line, down 29-6 after that offensive barrage by the Buchholz Bobcats in the first half. Or rather, Clint Alexander and company will open up shop, hoping to continue that offensive barrage. Alexander with a counter to Gainey, but Gainey is tripped up by Marvin Pope as he goes across the 20-yard line, maybe got to the 21 or 22.
Talk about that onslaught of the Buchholz offense. Can you imagine how many yards they would have racked up had Marvin Pope not been in the defense for Buchholz?
No gain for Gainey. So 2nd and 10 from the 21. And Alexander with a quick screen to Lamar Thomas. Thomas gets to the outside, but not before Drayton Allen wraps him up and brings him down.
Alexander to Thomas, 3 yards.
Thomas was Clint Alexander's favorite receiver in the first half, catching 4 balls for 107 yards and the 2 touchdowns. The big one, the 78-yard score on the 3rd play of the game. So a 4-yard gain to the 25 and call it 3rd and 6 now. And Alexander's back to pass once again. Pumps once and he's looking deep. Too deep. Looking for Thomas again. Just pump that shotgun one time too many and let it fly a little too deep.
Yeah, Alan Drayton's been covering Lamar Thomas pretty close on the line of scrimmage, and they look to get that pump fake, hoping to catch him looking for the interception and to bite on that fake, but not that time. Drayton with a nice play.
So 4th and 6, and Johnny Dickerson into punt. Another nice kick. And Drayton again from the 33-yard line. Out across the 35 before Todd Harrison brings him down.
It'll be first and 10 for the Rams on their own 38.
Ken, you mentioned earlier how Eastside had about 100 yards and didn't look much in comparison to the Buchholz offense. But when you consider what the offense of the Range team and the Lake City team did against Buchholz, Eastside did a pretty good job.
Keith Ware did much of that himself. And now once again with first down at his own 38-yard line. Keith Ware running the option right, keeping. Gets about a yard before Sim Banks wraps him up.
Ware for 1.
Banks has been keying on Ware the entire game. That's a big job when you consider that Keith Ware has rushed as the quarterback for over 100 yards in each of the first 2 ball games this year.
In the first half, though, just 8 yards on 8 carries and a touchdown. Now it's 9 for 9 after a 1-yard gain there. 2nd and 9 from the 39. 9:35 to play for third quarter. Ware from the shotgun again, and he's looking to throw. Out of the backfield to Pope, and Pope is hit hard by Gary Willis, but struggles forward for a couple. Flag down. Walk it off against Buchholz. 15-yard penalty.
Personal foul penalty against the Bobcats.
The personal foul.
Well, this game it looked as though Al Warnke got the offensive kinks out, and the offense has been moving well for Buchholz, but still those penalties continue to plague the Bobcats. They've just been tortured with penalties for the first 2 games and the first half of this one.
And now Ware again takes the high snap back in the shotgun and scrambles around there. He's exciting to watch and gets it away to Winston Thomas, and Thomas down at midfield. Well, they're going to say he trapped it, and it'll be incomplete. Ware in the first half, 5 out of 13 for 76 yards. Ran for the Rams' only score in the second quarter. So 2nd and 10 from the 46. And Ware looking to throw again. Gets some pressure, but gets it over to Todd Woolard. And Woolard using that big frame, but 89, Kevin Peoples on the tackle.
Todd Woolard for a loss of 1.
Lost a yard.
Kevin Peoples on the hit.
Loss of 2 as they spotted at the 48. So 3rd and 12. Allen has Vernon Bryant and Aaron McKnight as the wideouts. And he's back to throw again. Looking deep the middle to McKnight, and McKnight makes the catch. He may go. Touchdown, Eastside.
Nothing complicated about that play, Ken. Simple, slanted about 15 yards downfield. Pascal Williams played off, and he got burned.
There you see the good speed of Aaron McKnight, just 5'10" and 149 pounds. All these Eastside wideouts could have played for Mouse Davis with the Houston Gamblers if they had the Mouseketeer offense. But a nice pass and a nice play, and the Rams are on the scoreboard once again, trailing now 29-12. And they'll go for 2. But first, the timeout with 8:15 to play in the second quarter. Eastside has struck on their first possession of the second half, and they now trail Buchholz 29-12.
$2 before 11:30. After 11:30, admission will be $3. Students only, please. All proceeds will be used for academic scholarships for the Washington County High School students. A joint project of the grad and undergrad chapters of AKA.
We take a look at the Eastside Rams there, having called a timeout. New life having been breathed into the Rams as they now trail by a score of 29-12. It was a tough first half for Eastside, and really, had not been for 2 turnovers, they'd be right in this ball game right now. One, a fumble they dropped on their own 2-yard line, which enabled Buchholz to get an easy score, and another one which they gave up at the other end of the field when they were about to go in for a touchdown.
So Ware back in the shotgun as the Rams are going to go for 2. Looking to throw. Marvin Pope was the intended receiver, but Gary Willis with another fine play as he went around Marvin Pope. That's no easy task by itself to bat the ball away. So Ware's pass is incomplete, and the score remains 29-12 with 8:11 to play in the third quarter.
Nice play by Willis that time. The ball was thrown right on target, as Ware seems to be really getting good throws in now. But Willis reaching in, got the hand cleanly on the ball to deflect it, and the conversion is disallowed.
For a guy like Willis who played linebacker last year and was shifted to the corner this year, he looks like he's been playing the corner all his life. He's got good defensive back instincts. Can read a play well.
Real good.
He knows how to make that play without touching the receiver. So Nathan Whitaker will be called on to kick off for the second time this half. And the kick is a bouncing one to Pasco. Gets past Pasco Williams, and he'll down in the end zone.
Buchholz will take over on their own 20-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10.
Alexander has Keith Howell and John Alganey as his running backs in the eye. John McClain and Lamar Thomas, the wideouts, and the give is up the middle to Keith Howell, the fullback. And Howell's across the 25 to about the 27-yard line. It will be a gain of 7. Second and 3 from the 27. Backs again in an eye. Receivers in the slot formation right. And now some confusion on the Eastside side of things. Todd Woolard coming over to check on something with the coaching staff. But no timeout called, and Robert Mann comes into the ball game, and a linebacker. And now we're set to go. 2nd and 3 from the 27. And we've got movement on both sides of the line. Robert Mann, who just came in on defense, took a step forward, and the left side of the Buchholz line maybe stepped a bit, so.
I think it was Mickey Mulberry, the tight end. Mickey Mulberry came out of his stance and went forward a little bit and then drew the defense off sides.
Legal procedure, Buchholz.
So that'll move the Cats back 5, and 2nd and 8 from their own 22-yard line. Clock running, 7:35 to play third quarter. Alexander looking quickly again to John McClain. McClain makes the catch at the 30, and Darius Bailey tosses him out of bounds at about 31 or 32.
Alexander to John McLean. Here's Bailey on
10-yard gain. And a first down.
It'll be first and 10. On their own 33.
So as they spotted at the 33, it'll be an 11-yard gain. And Alexander pitches left to Gainey. Gainey gets to the 35 before Marvin Pope and Kyle Davis bring him down, and there's a flag on the play.
Once again, it's going against the Bobcats. Nice play, nice effort that time by Gainey. Second effort for extra yardage, and all for naught. It goes back. Has to be frustrating. Eastside is getting back in this ball game, and Buchholz is helping him back into it. Really good crowd on hand here at Florida Field tonight for this big matchup. Two of the top 3 teams in the city going head-to-head.
Call it an illegal block and set it back to the 20-yard line where it'll be first and 23. And the pitch right is to John L. Gainey. And Gainey spins and gets to the 25.
Credit the Eastside defense that time with good pursuit that time, but also Gainey always seems to be able to get a couple of extra yards, and when there's nothing, he gets something. Looks like we've got an Eastside player down, Ken.
Looks like Drayton Allen, the safety.
Stands tonight at the game, right team, second four, from 10:30 to 12:30. Primarily in George Hughes. Admission is $2 $11.30. $3.
Come in.
It's a windy night here at Florida Field. And the door in our broadcast booth, enjoying freedom of movement.
It's affecting everything, it seems, except the passers, who are both having a good day today.
Alexander now 11 out of 14 for 198 yards.
I'd say that's a good day.
And we're only in the third quarter. 6:47 to play and 29-12 Buchholz over Eastside.
11 of 14, Ken, those are the type of numbers that make the college scouts drool.
Speaking of college scouts, Clint Alexander.
Speaking of college scouts?
Clint Alexander has a list, what he considers his top 5 schools that he's looking at his senior year. And
is there a chance that you may enlighten us?
I just might do that. They include the University of Wisconsin, California at Berkeley, Stanford, a fine quarterback school, and Harvard and Yale. Clint Alexander, a fine student, he's looking for a place where he can not only play a pro-style throwing offense, but where he can get a good education as well. Says he wants to go into either medicine or some science-related field, and any of those schools might be a good one. And Alexander's back to pass now on first and 23, and he hits Johnny Dickerson up near the 40. Dickerson brought down by Kyle Davis.
As he adds to those stats. Look at the way he's been throwing tonight. I know Columbia could help him. Could get some help from him.
Villanova just started football again.
A couple of good schools that I'm sure could use a good quarterback. He's got a good future ahead of him. Great size, 6'4", strong arm. Comes from a good family as well. His mother is a former women's athletic director at the University of Florida, Dr. Ruth.
And the pitch right is to Gainey, a little high, but he brings it down and should have the first down up near the 45-yard line.
Upended by Bernard Bird, fighting off a block to make a nice tackle.
1 yard and a first down for the catch. Bernard Bird on the catch.
Those people who watching the first half here thought we might have a runaway on our hands when it was at halftime 29-6. Last 3 games, although Buchholz has beaten Eastside quite handily, it has been a tough game down to the wire. They've won by scores of 20-12, 21-12, and 28-14 last season.
5.5 minutes to play in the third quarter, and Alexander with the give on the counter once again to Gainey. Gainey breaks it across midfield down to the 40-yard line, still going, and finally Eastside catches up with him down at the 30. Claude Williams was the man who finally got to him and got him out of bounds.
They did what they were finally trying to do on that play, get Marvin Pope out of the game, and Pope was just coming inside a little too strong, and by the time he realized that the ball was in Gainey's hands, he was just out of the outstretched arm of Marvin Pope, and a huge game for John L. Gainey. Good execution by the Cats.
24 yards and a first down at the 33-yard line. Clock running now, or stopped at 5:21 as Gainey went out of bounds. And they give once again to Gainey off the right side, gets across the 30, down to the 25, and breaks still another tackle to the 20, and down at the 15 finally.
See something?
Bernard Bird and Darius Bailey, the defensive backs, finally had to make the stop in the secondary of Eastside.
Buchholz fans loving it on the east sideline. You know, that's the Gainey they're used to seeing. He only rushed for 94 yards, I believe, in the first two games combined, and he's approaching that right now in this one. He's having a super ball game. Good look at him right there, number 32.
First and 10 from the 15, and the give is to Keith Howell, the fullback, and he's to the 10, gets to the outside, and pushed out of bounds at the 6-yard line by Darrell Garrison.
Really got to believe, Ken, that the fatigue factor is coming into play. We've said it a couple of times, but the Eastside kids are going both ways. They're playing offense and defense. A lot of them are playing on the special teams as well, and you can see when they miss those tackles at the line of scrimmage, just try to tackle with their arms. They really have to be starting to get exhausted out there.
2nd and 1 from just outside the 5. And the give to Gainey, and Gainey gets the first down and a couple more.
Of course, one guy that never seems to get tired is number 40 in orange.
He's just all over. The 5'11", 235-pound junior, fullback and linebacker.
Got to realize Marvin Pope in the opening game against Eastside had 12 unassisted tackles. Last week he had 10 unassisted tackles. That doesn't count the ones he assisted on.
And now Marvin Pope's going to come out of the ball game favoring his right knee. Gainey got down to the 4 for a gain of 2. That'll be 1st and goal from there.
Boy, that's tough to have to take your star defender out on 1st and goal. Really, if Eastside doesn't score right here, it's probably because they dropped the ball themselves.
Johnny Dickerson goes wide right with Lamar Thomas in the slot right. On 1st and goal from the 4. They give us to Gainey, and Gainey gets down to the 1 before Kyle Davis and Darrell Garrison can bring him down. We've got a flag down, and they're going to call illegal motion on Buchholz. So once again, we have met the enemy, and they are the Buchholz Bobcats.
Well put. Coach Warnicke's really got to be on the sideline just tearing his hair out over this. Eastside's best defender goes to the sideline. It's all set up. 1st and goal on your 3. What do? Lose 5. Give him a chance to get a little breather on the sideline, and pretty soon you'll see Marvin Pope back in there in the middle of that Ram defense.
So 1st and goal now from the 8-yard line.
And he was out just one play.
And they give us to Keith Howell again, and Howell bangs across the 5. He may still go in, and he does. Keith Howell with great second effort. Broke off a tackler, just bounced right off him and kept going into the end zone. That was Marvin Pope, who went out for a play with a slightly banged up knee. He looks like he may be hurt again, but now he's up. But great effort there by Keith Howell, the fullback.
We mentioned Marvin Pope's name all game long on defense, all the great plays he's made. That time, he was the man who missed the tackle. And as you saw, Howell gets in the end zone, nice, strong running. 3:56 to go in the 3rd, and Cats score again.
Clint Alexander's brother Kane to hold, and the kick by Robert McCarthy is a low one, but it gets in there to make it 36-12.
Score is Bobcats 36, Rams 12.
12-play drive that time by the Bobcats. Keith Howell capped it off with an 8-yard touchdown run, and with 3:56 to play in the third quarter, Buchholz has padded that lead a little bit more. Now 36-12, or they've got back to the lead they had. McCarthy will kick it off from the 40. Kick is deep, and this is Vernon Bryant, and Bryant gets to the outside across the 25 to the 27. Nice return there by the speedster Bryant.
Roderick Rowden on the tackle.
And opening up shop at their own 26 will be the Eastside Rams, down 36-12 with 3:46 to play in the third quarter and the clock running. Cox Cable 8's high school football game of the week from Florida Field. Ken Tomash, Bob DeLessio, glad you're with us. As Keith Ware looks over the Bobcat defense. And he's back to pass on first down. Out of the backfield for Bryant, and Bryant makes the catch, and a jarring hit there. Gary Willis, who's played a whale of a game in the secondary. What a lick he put on Bryant.
Willis made the first contact, but the guy that came up with a jolting hit was David Fraser, who caught the receiver right in the ribs with the helmet. It's a legal hit, but boy, does that hurt.
So first down at the 42-yard line after a 16-yard hookup from Keith Ware to Bryant. And Ware's back to pass again on first down. Some pressure, but he gets it out to Bryant again. That time was Gary Willis.
You must have rabbit ears. Another good hit from the Buchholz secondary.
Fast-moving third quarter, mainly because Buchholz has had the ball most of the time as they were grinding out a 12-play drive to score their 36th point of the night. And now on 2nd and 10 from the 42, Keith Ware sends 3 wideouts out, has his backs in an eye, and now we've got a flag. Maybe too much time, or maybe Buchholz is offside.
I think it was a timeout called by Buchholz, and their defensive coach comes running on the field. He's a little upset.
Well, we did see a flag, but they've picked it up now, so if you throw the flag and didn't mean it, just pick it up and walk away and hope nobody noticed it. It is timeout Buchholz with 2:58 to play in the third quarter.
I believe that was Coach Ed Davis that came running on the field. I may be wrong from up here. It looked like Ed Davis looked a little upset with his defense. Came out there to have a few choice words. Doesn't look like the set is going to be any change. 4-man front.
Alexander now close to doubling his season output in passing yards for the year. He had 240 yards coming in. He's thrown for 213 tonight on 12 out of 15 throws and the 3 big touchdowns. Don't know how much longer we'll see him tonight. But for now, it's 2nd and 10 from the 42-yard line of Eastside as Keith Ware has his Rams up. And Ware up the middle again. But read nicely again by the Buchholz defense. Todd Harrison, one of the men in on that tackle.
Keith Ware from 4. It'll be 3rd down.
Harrison playing that right end position, fought off a block to get over there, and that's not just a little block he's fighting off. He's fighting off Brian Dixon, who stands 6'4" and weighs in at a meager 304. Must be some good food in that Eastside cafeteria. 304.
3rd and 6 from the 46-yard line of Eastside as Ware back to pass again, getting some pressure, but lets it go deep. And Gary Willis, did he come up with it?
I think so.
They are going to call it an interception by Gary Willis. It was low, but he scooped it.
pass.
His arms were on the ground when that ball hit, but it's okay as long as the ball doesn't touch the turf. Nice play by Willis. Saw the ball short in front of him and just tried to scoop it, and he did. Sort of like the play Pascal Williams made last week, which was ruled incomplete. But we won't get into that again, will we, Ken?
No. So not much rest for the weary as the Buchholz offense comes out, captained now by Rodney Strawder once again, and Strawder can't find the snap from center, has to pick it up, and Marvin Pope made him pay for it.
Pope gets right up on that center and causes some confusion. That, by the way, the third interception thrown this year by Ware.
Strawder managed to get back to the line of scrimmage where it'll be 2nd and 10 from the 34. And the pitch right is to John L. Gainey once again. Gainey stops for a moment, and then he's brought down hard by Darrell Garrison. Flag on the play.
Going to be a penalty called against Buchholz again. I think it was John McClain with a hold or an illegal block that time. So again, Buchholz continues to hurt itself on offense with the penalties. Rodney Waldron, the referee coming into your picture, signals the hold against the Cats.
Holding called against the Cats will be 2nd down and 20.
So a 10-yard penalty back to the 34, or the 24 rather. Strawder has Johnny Dickerson and Lamar Thomas, and on the draw play, this is Gainey. Gainey going through a host of defenders and gets out across the 25 to maybe the 27.
Play was a little late developing that time. You could see it coming. Cameron Goff had penetration, got a hand on Gainey, but Gainey was able to get back to about the line of scrimmage.
Under 30 seconds now to play in the 3rd quarter. Gainey got 2 on that, and it'll be 3rd and 18 from the 26. Bobby Matheny with a quick kick.
The old quickie. 2nd time we've seen them pull that this year.
And a nice one, too. Rolls down dead inside the 30 to the 28-yard line of Eastside.
Eastside will take over on the 28-yard line.
We've got 1 tick left in this 3rd quarter. Nice call by Buchholz, especially when you got a good, strong wind behind you.
46-yard punt that time. And for the final tick of the clock of the 3rd quarter, the Rams will have it as we see the 3rd quarter come to an end now. 36-12, Buchholz over Eastside is our score from Florida Field.
At the end of the 3rd quarter, Bobcats 36, Rams 12. Then tonight away tonight after game, Wright Union, 2nd score, from 10:30 to 12:30. Come early and enjoy music. Admission is $2 until 11:30. After 11:30, admission will be $3. Students only, please. All proceeds will be used for academic scholarships for Alaska County High School students.
give to Marvin Pope. Clifford Bell brings them down, so the two-point conversion no good. And with 11:44 to play in the game, Keith Ware hits Aaron McKnight on a 72-yard touchdown, but the two-point conversion fails. It's Buchholz 36, Eastside 18. After hooking up with Aaron McKnight on a 48-yard touchdown pass on their first drive of the third quarter, on the first play of the fourth quarter, it's Ware and McKnight again for 72 yards and a touchdown, and it's 36-18 as Nathan Whitaker is set to kick off. This will be Pasco Williams from his own 7. Across the 25, it loses the football, but I believe Buchholz has got it.
He lost it on that hit by Darrell Garrison, who always seems to be in there on those special team plays. But I believe it was picked up by Robbie Matheny there.
That was Baker Turner on the return.
So just when you think you're going to count Eastside out of it, they come right back to make it interesting.
Still, we see Rodney Straughter at quarterback for Buchholz. Now Christopher Golden in a wide out. And they give that time to Rex Stevens.
Bernard Bird hit him in the backfield there. Stevens fell forward for a gain of a couple. Should be about second, I'd say 5.
Second and 4 for Kent.
Second string in now, Kent for Buchholz.
This time it's to Gainey.
I was referring to the offensive line anyway.
Ken Singleton knocks heads with him and brings him down.
Third down.
Usually it's more noticeable when you're playing on dirt, when all those bright white shirts come in late in the game, but a lot of clean shirts in there, no turf marks anyway on them. New offensive line in for Buchholz.
So on 3rd and 1 from the 33. They give us to Matheny. Matheny has the first down and more as he's across the 40 to the 45, and finally at the 48-yard line, Bernard Bird brings him down.
Marvin Pope, who pursued on that play and came up with an assist on that tackle, is down again. And this time he appears to be injured a little more seriously. He was pointing at his right knee. Let's see if we can get a look at Pope down there on this, right in the middle of our screen, behind the official.
Ken Singleton now limping off, as is Bernard Bird. And if they have to replace those two fellas, two of the stronger points in their secondary or their defense, Larry White might have to go deep into the well. 1st and 10 from the 48, 9:56 to play in the game and the clock running. Straughter with the give again to Matheny across midfield to the 45 and down to the 40-yard line. Claude Williams on the stop. Matheny, the senior, 5'8", 162. getting a chance for some playing time as he got down to the 41.
Once again, Marvin Pope in one play, goes out for one, and he's back in. What a tough kid. Clock ticking away.
They give to Gainey, and he's across the 40 down to the 35 and maybe the 33 before Claude Williams brings him down.
Buchholz really pouring it on now on the ground, just bulldozing the tired and smaller defensive front of Eastside. And the Cats are having their way for it as they make that inexorable march toward the end zone. Buchholz has asserted itself offensively in this ball game, which they hadn't done consistently the first two games. They put 36 points on the board, looking for more.
Gain of 8 to the 33, 2nd and 2. Mark Nolte in at a wideout now, and the give is to Gainey again. There's a flag down as Gainey goes across the 30, down inside and inside the 25. Now a couple of flags down. Claude Williams again with a stop.
Flag in the backfield will probably be procedure against Buchholz, and also there may be a holding penalty a little bit upfield against the Cats. So look at this play to come back. The first penalty, I believe, was against Buchholz. The second one may have been against, holding against the Cats, one. And the second one was a face mask against Eastside, so it looks like we'll offset. Or as we used to say in the schoolyard, do-over.
Do-over. So, once again, from the 33, 2nd and 2. The give is to Rex Stevens, and Stevens breaks one tackle, but not the tackle of Lee Calhoun. Todd Woolard. And another flag. Personal foul on Eastside.
Personal foul against Graham.
That'll be 15, and that breaks the long string of penalties against Buchholz. I think about the last 10 flags have been against the Cats.